guys, welcome back to another episode of Creative Adventures. Today I'm working on the second of a series of recipes from Handmade Magazine, which is from Wholesale Supplies Plus. I wanted to try a bunch of new bath products that are not specifically soap related. So for today's video, I'm making bath melts. And they're these wonderful, luscious, moisturizing little bars of goodness that you drop in your bathtub when you're taking a bath. And it gives your skin all kinds of nourishing, moisturizing goodness. I know that's probably not a word, nourishy, but you know, whatever. So, this is the recipe I'm making today. Chocolate cherry bath melts. If you want to follow along, this one is from volume 65 of Handmade Magazine. The magazine is available in print, but they have a digital version that you can access on the Wholesale Supplies Plus website. And for this particular recipe, I'm actually not changing any of the ingredients. I'm making it exactly as they describe. I am changing the design up just a little bit, but you'll see that at the very end. So stay tuned. These chocolate cherry bath melts are considered an easy recipe. There's no dangerous chemicals involved in this one, so let's get right to it. The ingredients for this recipe are, number one, cocoa butter. This is natural, raw, unrefined cocoa butter. I buy this usually from Amazon because that's where I can get the best deals on it. Pure beeswax. These are white, which means that they have been bleached. I also get this on Amazon. Takuma butter, which I had actually never heard of this before finding this recipe. I got this on Wholesale Supplies Plus. It's often used in hair, lotion, formulas for things like that, skincare. It's a very highly moisturizing butter, and it has a really natural glide to it. So it's especially useful in lotions and things like that. We will also be adding cocoa powder to this. This is mostly for the scent and some color. I'm using cocoa powder straight out of my kitchen. Polysorbate 80. You can get this at a variety of stores, but I did get this on Wholesale Supplies Plus. This is actually an emulsifier, and it also helps to prevent melting. These bath melts actually are very soft and will melt in warmer temperatures, and you really just want them to melt when you put them in the bath, when you're ready for them to melt. So this will actually help with that, but it will help hold this mixture together too and emulsify all those oils and butters together. The fragrance that we're using for this recipe is black cherry to go with that natural cocoa powder. I also have some red orange oil locking mica. This is a shimmer mica from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And we'll be using this right at the very end after our bath melts have already set up to kind of dip the tops of them to make them look like a cherry sauce is covering these little chocolate candies. And then of course we'll also need molds. It's a silicone mold. These have 24 cavities. I do have 2 of them just in case I need that many. I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to need, but these are actually brownie bite sized. So you can use a variety of molds. You can actually use candy molds that have powdered bottoms. That's actually how the original recipe recommended you make this to make it look like candies. I just couldn't find any, and this is what I had on hand, so I'm going to be using these little square molds. Aside from that, all we'll need is some good containers to melt our mixtures down in and to make things easier for pouring. I prefer using spouted beakers like this. These are actually made for pouring these kinds of mixtures. You've seen me use them before on this channel, so I'll be using these for my mixtures. So first ingredient is cocoa butter. I've got 6 ounces measured out in my container here. I also have another ½ ounce measured off into a much smaller beaker to the side. We're gonna be using this to mix that red mica powder with to dip the top. So you just need to set aside a little bit of cocoa butter for later use. All right, so let's get our scale back out and tare our scale. I actually don't need to weigh this because I bought the exact amount that I need. But we've got 6 ounces of cocoa butter, and then we're gonna also add 6 ounces of Takuma butter. I'm gonna add that right into my cup. It's actually 3 packages worth here. Okay. And then finally, we're gonna add 1 ounce of beeswax. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this to my microwave and I'm gonna start melting this down in probably 30-second to 45-second bursts and mix it together in between bursts until we get it nice and smooth and melted down. All right, now that I've got my wax and my oil and my cocoa butter fully melted down, it's nice and well mixed. That took about 7 minutes total in my microwave. Beeswax actually does take quite a while to fully melt down. But, oh gosh, this mixture just in and of itself smells really good with that cocoa butter in there. But now we are going to mix in our emulsifier, our polysorbate, and our fragrance. So for the polysorbate, we need 10 milliliters, and I'm just gonna use a little pipette for this. This is a 3 ml pipette. So I'm just gonna make sure that I get 10 ml in there. And 10. I'm gonna make sure you get that mixed in really well. And now with a separate clean pipette, I'm gonna add in 2 ml of my fragrance oil here. Oh my gosh, again, this recipe smells like candy, just like my last one. So we're gonna mix that fragrance oil and that polysorbate in really, really well. Oh, that smells so good. It smells like Black Forest cake. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. And now, finally, we're going to add in a tablespoon of cocoa powder. And this will give it a nice chocolatey color and also add to that chocolate fragrance that the cocoa butter gives us. So get that nice and mixed in. You don't want any clumps in there. This is going to smell so good in the bath. Okay, I think we're nice and smooth now. All right, now as I often do with my soap molds, I've put this on just an old baking pan because these silicone molds are really, really floppy and flexible. So this just helps me transport it where I need it. So I have my mold sitting on top of this pan, and I am going to just start filling up these little cavities. Okay, so that filled up 22 and a half of my little cavities here. So that's for this particular brownie bite-sized mold. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pop this into the freezer for several hours and let these set up nice and hard. And then we'll come back and melt down this other ½ ounce of cocoa butter that we have here, add some red orange mica to that, and then top these little bath melt candies off. All right, it has been several hours, so I think we're ready to pop these bad boys out the mold. But one thing I'm noticing immediately is that these things are cracking pretty bad. So, the ones that do pop out whole are really cool. They're just these little, perfect little bath melts ready to go in the bath. But we are gonna still add some embellishment to them. So I'm gonna pop them onto a flat tray over here. And I'm gonna try to salvage as many as I can without breaking them, but as you can see, a lot of them are just breaking right down the middle. It seems to work a little better if I push up right from the center of the cube to pop it out. Okay, so there's my bath melts, the base of my bath melts. As you can see, I've got several here that are broken into lots of little pieces, but that's okay. I still have a bunch that actually came out perfect, solid. And I imagine that if I really wanted to, I could actually just remelt these down and re-pour them into my molds. Now we're gonna add the finishing touch. I had originally planned to melt this down and dip the tops, but I think I actually wanna just drizzle this over the top, much like I would a piece of chocolate. So, I've got this red orange oil locking mica that I showed you earlier. Man, that is some really bright orange. I'm gonna take a tiny little bit. I don't need much at all. Not much at all. It's maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon. Add that directly to my cocoa butter here. Remember, this is a ½ ounce of cocoa butter. I'm gonna give that a good stir. Now this beaker I'm using has a teeny tiny little pointed spout on it, so this will help me just drizzle this over the top, much like I would chocolates. How cute are those going to be? So stinking cute. And those bath melts are so cold, it's kind of setting up that cocoa butter almost immediately after it hits. Look how cute these are. They look like little pieces of chocolate. And they smell They smell like Black Forest cake. And just having that in my hand is allowing the butters in that to melt and smooth right into my skin. That's gonna be divine in a bathtub. All right, so I will let these get fully set up. I'll take some good pictures of them and I'll pop those up at the end. But it's been a ton of fun making these bath melts, and this is a super easy project. Any skill level can do this, and there's no scary chemicals involved. This is definitely a very easy project, and I cannot wait to try these in my bath. But stay tuned, you guys. I have lots more fun bath product videos coming up. I've got some more bath fizzies. I've got some actual soap videos coming up, and I'm really excited to get those filmed for you. But until next time, we'll see you soon on Creative Adventures.